Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. How are you today? Ooh, I hope you're doing good. Today we are going to talk to Jeanne Chilson. Jeanne Chilson has a journey, a story, and a truth. She is a doctor of Ayurveda medicine. I'm going to talk to her about that because I'm telling you, Brains, that's the business, but it is a discipline. You have to be disciplined. She guides women over 50 to feel that are feeling restless, unfulfilled, and uncertain about their future on their journey of self-discovery to find confidence, clarity, and the energy to live their life intentionally with joy and purpose. Now, that's a tall order, okay? That's a tall order because, number one, we have to identify with who we are, and are we mature enough to handle all of that? You know, we put it out there. You want to live your highest and greatest good, yada, 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 yada. But you can't handle that. Some people, what Jack Nicholson say, you can't handle the truth. So we're going to talk to her about the truth and some of the great explorations that she has been on. I mean, she goes deep. So let's welcome to the show. How are you, Jeanne?
I'm doing great, April.
I love that smile and that giggle because you just came back from Nepal. We're going
I
to start with
did.
that. Tell us a little bit about that. Why did you go there?
I went there to see my Nepali son. About 6 years ago, I went for yoga, and there was a young man there at the time. I think he was around 22, 23. And we just kind of clicked, and we've stayed in touch ever since. So I went to go visit him.
Wow, and
And
what did you do while you were there?
well, it became a journey, a little bit of journey of self-discovery, a little bit of visiting, a little bit of doing all kinds of things. But I think the major thing that I did was a 741-foot bungee jump.
Hey, well, you had to do it sober because they're not going to let you go under the influence. What drew you to do that? What was your calling?
Um, Bungee was something that I've always wanted to do, but here's the story. When we decided to go back to this bungee place, I was thinking to myself, now I'm not scared of heights. The fear wasn't getting to me, but what I was telling myself is if I face this fear, and it wasn't really much of a fear, but when you look out and jump on a bungee cord over a rushing river, it didn't really put fear in my heart. But what I told myself and what was coming up to me and the message that I was getting was, do this and face this, and you can face anything. If you can trust in yourself enough and trust in the divine enough to jump off this platform and to be safe, then you can make any kind of move that you want to in life.
Oh, that's deep. That's deep. As hell, there's a lot of moves I ain't making. Here's one thing I want to do. I've always wanted to paraglide. There's a paraglide place here. I don't have a need to jump out of a plane, and I need a tandem. If I'm going, somebody's going with me. I don't want to go.
Right?
But I understand overcoming fear. There's things that I have done that have overcome fear, and when you can do that, you know you are a bit fearless. Tell us a little bit about your story and your journey and how you show up in the world.
Oh, well, what part would you like to know? Where do you want me to start?
Just start, start with what you really want to divulge and want the world to know about you, and what you've overcome.
Well, let's say this. I am the last of seven children. My mom was a single parent,
Wow.
and I was the last of the seven. uh, there was my my four older brothers and sisters left when I was very young. And so it was just me, my mother, and my two sisters. Um, so going through life, that was, I always kind of wanted a father because, I always seen my friends having a father, but I didn't have that. I didn't have that luxury, I guess.
Did he pass
And
away or they broke
my
up?
mom and my dad got divorced when I was probably, I think, two. And then my dad passed away when I was four.
Mm.
So I really never had a father in my life, although I've had older brothers and that's about as far as it went. And a mother that did her best to, to raise us. And she went through the alcoholic stages and, but I think I was the only one that really understood why she was so unhappy and it all stemmed from just being lonely. And that's the purpose of her drinking. Um, so yeah, went through life, wanted to go to college, but of course, we didn't have the money to go to college. And at that time, it wasn't like it is today where it was easy to get in.
You think?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it,
well, put it this way: they're getting in, but when they get out, there's no jobs. So,
exactly. So it was quite a bit different back then. So, it was just more of me just going out and starting working. I started working at about 9 years old.
oh wow.
We used to go out and pick what they call brush for the floral companies, and that's what we did up in Washington. And then I picked strawberries and raspberries, and then I started my first job at 15 years old. Um, at 18, it kind of gave me it was kind of like a turning point at 18 years old. After I graduated, I was going out one night and ended up going out by myself on a New Year's Eve. And was getting ready to come home and gave my mom a call, and I was in a phone booth. If anybody knows what a phone booth is. So, I was in a phone booth and seen a man walk past me, which gave me chills. And I had told mom, man, I would just, hate to see him in a dark alley. Well, I got back to my car and I didn't see him in a dark alley, but he was in my back seat.
Oh, oh,
Yeah. So, that was a night that was kind of a turning point for me. It was up in the SeaTac area, and that was my first and only experience with ever being raped. And although, um, we didn't have cell phones back then, and I was able to get away, drive off in my vehicle,
Allah.
and get to a safe place where some people called my mother for me. And of course, they didn't believe me in the hospitals that's what happened. A few months later, I seen him in an airport, and although they detained him and questioned him, but he didn't have an accent like I had said that he did, and so they let him go. So that sent me to leaving Washington State. My mom packed me up and said, "I need you to just get away from here,"
Hmm.
which sent me down to my brother, and that had been in the military before, but so it sent me down with my brother, and then my oldest sister got a little jealous and she said, "Why didn't you come see me?" So I went and seen her, and just so much family drama. So I decided that I was going to join the military,
Wow.
get away.
What branch?
I was in the army.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
That was a
and
different time for women back then too.
it was a really good time to be in the military. And at the time it was a co-ed. They had just started a co-ed, a male female company. And so it was, for me, it was really good. My sister tried to talk me out of it, and So I went back to my recruiter and I said, okay, let me sign up again. Let me go through all the paperwork and everything. And then I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm going into the military. And she said, when? And I said, tomorrow morning at 4:30 in the morning, I leave. So that was in November of 2000 of 1981. Um, I went into the military in November of 1981, and I went to Fort Dix, New Jersey for November, December, and January. Um, yeah, so it was quite an experience.
So as you progressed, you had some other life challenges that you faced. Tell us about that.
Oh, well, I've had so many life challenges, but yeah, when I was in the military, I met my first husband and got into a relationship that I probably should have never gotten into. And yeah, I came back to the States from Germany, and when I came back to the States, I realized that I really didn't want to be, I didn't want to be with him. We hadn't gotten married yet. And a few months later, he got stationed in Fort Huachuca, Arizona, and I was in Fort Story, Virginia. And he called me out of nowhere and said, I want to get married. Will you marry me? And against my better judgment, I said, you know what? I'll never know until I do this. I'll never know if it's the right or wrong decision unless I do it. So I did. I married him. And despite the fact that we were in separate duty stations, he did not like that fact that we were in separate duty stations at all. And him being a very jealous kind of a person. So, um, yeah, he ended up needing a surgery, and I flew out from Fort Story to Houston, Texas, and rented a car. I was young, naive. I had never rented a car in my entire life. And I thought, you rent a car, you can go anywhere. Well, I found out that that wasn't the case, really. Um, because my husband at that time did not want to go back to his duty station. And I only had 30 days leave. And my 30 days was coming up, and he didn't want to go back. And me and my devout feelings that I made this vow to God that I am going to make this work through thick and thin, through better or worse. And so I stayed there. And then I found out that my mother had gotten a DUI, and I wanted to drive to California to go see her. So I did. Um, on the way out there, we stopped at a casino in Las Vegas from Houston, and my husband seen me talking to two guys where he then grabbed me by my hair and pulled me out of a casino. Um, and then, decided to beat me up while I was, when we got back to our room. And as he grabbed me by my hair and pulled me straight out of the casino, we went straight past security and everybody, and nobody did anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody did a thing. So my mother's first meeting with my husband, I had two black eyes and two black arms. And needless to say, she didn't like him.
Right. Surprised she didn't wallop him.
Yeah, yeah, but well, that kind of stemmed one thing after another. She found out that I was AWOL. She called her boyfriend, which was in the Navy. He got the MPs and arrested me. And here I am begging them, let me go, just so I can get my husband to go back to his duty station. And so they did. And he wouldn't go back. So we were going to drive back to Fort Story, Virginia from California. A long drive.
In the car that you rented.
in the car that I rented, that I thought I could drive anywhere, and that I thought I had extended my agreement with them until we stopped in Frankfort, Kentucky, and we ran out of gas waiting for some friends to wire us some money. And the cops came up behind me, ran the plates, and asked me where I'm going. I said, back to my duty station. And he then told me to get out of the car and arrested me for theft of services. And to be honest, April, I was scared shitless
Of course. Of course.
because here I am. I was a decorated soldier. I had so many accommodations in the military. I had never been in trouble in my entire life. And here I am getting arrested for stealing a car, which I never stole. So I sat in Frankfurt jail for over 30 days, didn't eat nothing because I was so scared. The cop told me that arrested me that I wish I would have never ran your plates because I know you're not guilty. And I hope Houston doesn't come get you. But unfortunately, the last day they called and said, we're on our way, and they extradited me down to Houston to send me to court for stealing a car, where I spent another 6 weeks in jail. Luckily, I had a girl that was in basic training with me, and she kind of protected me and told everybody I was her girlfriend, so it kind of kept me safe. Um, but my sentence was 5 years in prison. 5 years in prison for somebody that's never been in jail before. I got the maximum sentence.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
for
so what happened to this husband?
he got sent home. Nothing happened to him. He got sent home to Houston. Not a thing happened. And
Never supported you? Did he put any money on your books? Come to
he
see
never supported me, never tried to bail me, never did anything to get me out of jail. I sat in jail in Kentucky for 30 days and sat in jail in Houston for 6 weeks. Not once did he come visit. Not once did he try to get me out. Not once did he do anything to help me.
Did you have to do the 5 years, or did you get time served? Or
No, I didn't have to do the 5 years, but I did get 5 years probation.
and
Yeah,
that's sometimes worse because you're walking on eggshells. You're already paranoid. You
I
don't know
was.
what you're gonna do, but all that. But you know what? All of that made you fearless. Again, that's why you jumped off the bridge, the bungee jump.
Yeah.
So you are a risk taker. And so you moved in your life. You got that chapter closed. Do you have children?
I have 5 children and 6
That's right.
grandchildren.
That's right. You did tell me you had 5 kids.
Yes.
That's another risk, girl. I did it once. I did it one time after she was born. She was all cute and everything. I told myself this shit is overrated. I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it no more.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you did 5 kids, and so did you find the love of your life? Were you in love with their father? Was he good to you? Any of your children?
No, my first husband wasn't good at all. Although I had 4 kids with him because in my thought, I had to uphold what I had promised to God that I was going to try to make this work no matter what. And
Let me get
so
this clear though, because I'm a little confused. The same guy that you uh that went AWOL, that was your first husband, right?
that was my first husband.
And that's who you had the 4 children with.
I had 4 children with him.
So you're not only a risk taker, you're a repeat offender.
I am. That I am.
Wow, wow. Yeah, you know what? And I'm gonna tell. I just want to stop right here for a minute because this is not a judgment. This is a conversation. But women get tricked up. They get tricked up on situations, and you really don't know what's going on. They'll be in the car with you, and they'll have the guy will have the drugs and roll on you and say that you had the drugs, or you'll go to a club with them and he has you carry the gun. Or, you get so in love with him and what he's doing, he'll have you kill the wife. Women, follow your intuition.
Yeah,
God made you a woman for a reason. And I know that we want to do the right thing. God said be good, but he didn't say be no damn fool.
that is so true,
And there
April.
is a way to honor yourself, because I'm sure, and I'm just assuming, that your children saw the dysfunction. They
They
saw the
did.
unhappiness. They saw the unhappiness of their mother.
Yeah, they did. And this is one thing that I really want to get to a lot of people because when you're in an abusive relationship and you have children, especially when you have children, but even in any abusive relationship, you want to get out, but you just don't know how. And if you don't have anybody there to really support you, because my family really kind of they weren't behind me because I stuck with this marriage, so they weren't behind me. They weren't supporting me. And we just don't know what to do. We don't know what's going to happen next. If the next time, is it going to be our life? Is it what's going to happen to our kids? Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? How are we going to, and it's familiar, you're in a situation, but it just happens to be a familiar one. And so for me, I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have any place to go. I didn't know who to depend on. And, although I didn't let him just beat me, I always stood up for myself and then, fought back. But um yeah, the two older children ended up seeing it. And um it wasn't a really good situation. And that's when I finally said, you know what? It's not good for the kids. This is not what I need. And I decided to get out of that.
So as you got out of the relationship, you moved on and you found a place of self-discovery. And that's what you're doing right now. You're trying to help other individuals. And I always say this, it's not always women that are just victims. Men have can be victimized too,
Oh, yeah.
you know. And so when you found yourself in this situation and you broke free and you rose like the phoenix and you said, I'm out of here. What was your aha moment? What was that turning point?
Uh, I think the biggest one was, for me, and when I just decided, okay, this is it, I can't have anything to do with him anymore, is when he almost killed me, running me off the road.
Oh, oh.
We were on a freeway and he just grabbed the steering wheel and just we went off the freeway, across the feeder lane, across another thing, and into a parking lot where he began to beat me. And that's when I just said, I can't do this anymore. I really have to get out of this situation. And I did meet somebody that said, I'll take you and your kids. And, he was kind of my knight in shining armor at that time, So um,
How did that work out?
I was with him for 33 years and I really, really loved him and I still care about him. But in my process of growth and in my process of spiritual growth, um, I wasn't really being fulfilled in the way that I wanted to be fulfilled. And
It's,
in
it,
my,
getting your back broke wasn't enough, right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
well, because women get caught up in those Spengali. He got some good
yes,
sex. He got some good sex. He tells you that that you're pretty. Kiss you on your neck and all that kind of stuff. And then you just kind of go for it. But
yeah,
again, like you said, when you found yourself, it took you a long time because you had so much to go through, so much to edit and filter. You had those kids to raise, so you couldn't pour into yourself. You actually had to dial back, suppress yourself to elevate others. Do they appreciate that? Your kids look at you, and to this day, I know I'm putting y'all kids on the spot, but they appreciate the sacrifice and what you've done for
You
them.
know what, April? Sometimes I really have that question in my mind. Do they really appreciate that? That's a good question. I don't know, and I can't answer that because I'm not my kids, but
Well, you know what?
sometimes the feeling of not being appreciated is there.
Yeah, well,
And
you know what? I'd ask them. And
yeah,
that's just me. Do you realize, because at this point in this juncture in their life, they've had some life experiences. They've had their own challenges. They've had their hurts, their pains, their disappointments, their bad relationships, their good relationships, their good jobs, their good money. They've had those experiences. Maybe when you get a chance, ask them, because the truth will set you free. And
yeah.
that's a part of the barrier, is that we don't have the conversation. Now, see, I'm
Yeah.
talking all this drag, but I'm about to have a conversation with somebody, no, really, somebody in my family, because there's a big elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And it's very uncomfortable. I haven't seen this person for 3 years. And so we're going to have a conversation, and I'm going to initiate it. But what I'm going to do in this conversation is I'm not going to talk very much. I'm going to listen, because what you hear is what is going to be the most important, whatever that is, good, bad, or indifferent. But I know where you're coming from. And if I know where you're coming from, I know how to deal with you. I know how to deal with me. I know how to process that. And processing is something that you have went through. I went through some of your videos, and you have done the deep dive. You have done some intensive spiritual work with women, in different types of groups, uh, campfires. You have come up out the water. You know, really, you've been to Nepal. You are really trying to break the barrier of all those
I
things
am.
that have encapsulated you. How did
And,
you end
and
up
and
being
it's not just for me, April. It's for not only me, but for my children and for my children's children.
right to
So
break through
it
the
doesn't
generational
continue.
trauma?
Yes.
Because it will. It is embedded in your DNA, and you
Yeah.
can't do better unless you know better. How did you become a doctor of Ayurveda medicine?
Oh, well, I've really I've really never liked the medical industry. Um, because every time I found myself in a situation where I had questions, I could never get an answer from the medical field. It was always like, we don't know. There's nothing wrong with you. And it's like, clearly, like I passed out, I blacked out, didn't know why. What was wrong with me? I have no idea. And I've never been a person that loves to take medication. And so I started looking more in a holistic way of how I can take care of myself without taking the medications and without putting stuff in my body that should never be there. Um, so I started doing that just through my own intuition and through my own learnings. However, when I started going to yoga, there was a place down here that I went for a yoga class, and I was doing Kundalini at the time. And this happened to be a Hatha yoga. And the lady was an Ayurvedic practitioner, and there was a girl there studying for Ayurveda. And I asked her, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Ayurveda and studying for my test." And I was like, "Oh, okay. So where are you taking these classes?" And so she told me it was online, and the teacher was located in Colorado, and it was between him and a different school that was in California. And so, yeah, just one day I just decided, you know what? I think this is what I want to do. I think I really want to learn how to take care of people in this kind of way and take care of myself and my kids in this way. However, I'm the only one that takes care of me. My kids are not too much into holistic health because they don't like the taste of it and all kinds of stuff. But for me, I think it's the answer. It's more of the answer because it's more of the ancient wisdom teachings. It's more of the indigenous teachings. And those are the people that knew
Right,
everything about plants.
exactly. Plant medicine, uh,
Yeah.
and that's what medicine comes from. Brains is plants. So don't
Yeah.
use that it's not. But what you have to understand is, when you do this, this is a lifestyle. This is
It
not a
is.
quick fix. Oh, okay. Well, I need to get over IBS. Let me take these herbs and, clean my colon and blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to be fine. No, because if you go back to eating processed foods or the same junk uh, and mistreating your body, it's going to go right back to the same stage, if not worse.
Yes.
You know, if you lose a lot of weight and you don't have the mindset mastery and the discipline, you're going to gain it back and then some.
Yes.
If you are in a destructive relationship and you keep going back, it's going to get worse because now they're comfortable and they feel that they have control. So what we
In
have
which
to,
they do.
well, yeah, but we have to gain back self-control, and it's
Yeah.
so hard. I know with all your might, you wanted to be able to snatch that steering wheel back and drive in a different direction. But it all starts somewhere. And it's a longing and a desire to get rid of the crazy. You know,
Yes.
what, how's it? Dr. Phil, I used to work creating audiences for his show. And he would always say to us, so how's that working for you? How does that make you feel? And when you answer that question, at least there's a starting point. You have to ask the question. And so I am so glad that you are questioning. What do women have to look for and towards when they work with you?
Well, I've had so many experiences. So, for me, it's just having that somebody that understands, they can meet you where you are with no judgment. That can accept the situation that you're in and with absolutely no judgment, and that's willing to stand by them no matter what until we get the results that we're looking for. And to be honest, April, it's not, and people don't really realize this, that it's not an easy thing to get through life circumstances and life things and not have bitterness and not have anger and not have all of these things towards the people that caused you harm. And it does take a deep dive, and that's one thing that I would really recommend for everybody, is to take that deep dive with inside themselves, because you can't change anybody but yourself.
Right.
And that was a realization that I had, is that I can't change the people around me, nor do I want to, because if I'm asking them to change to suit me, then they're no longer being them authentically. And I want to be accepted for me and who I am and the way that I am, in all my authenticity and all my quirks and all of my ways of being, without somebody expecting me to change.
Well,
So
you're
we
better
can,
than me because I expect for you to make corrective action. Damn it, get yourself together, okay? I will, or I'm out
yeah,
because I just don't. I'm 63 years old at this point, unapologetically, and I had to ask myself, April, it's how you process. It's how you receive the information. What are you going to do with this information? Are you?
yeah,
It's like the craziness on the idiot box. That's what I call the TV idiot box. Am I going to be consumed by every pundit, by every opinion, by every network person? I mean, they don't deliver the news, they create the news.
yes,
They create the sensationalism because they want you to tune in. My mother used to watch CNN and she said, "Oh, baby, it's breaking news. Don't change the channel." I said, "That's the same news that broke at 8 o'clock. It's 4:30 now." So it's that subliminal programming. It's that neuro linguistic programming, that constant rewinding, that echo chamber. So, me, shut it off and change.
yeah,
If you can't meet me halfway, like I said, you've done a lot of work, and it takes a lot of courage to accept people as they are. I don't always accept you like you are. I'm gonna tell you 110%. I'm real with that. I'm
yeah,
real with that because I don't have the tolerance for it. It is detrimental to my mental health. So again, showing up in your authentic self, that's some thick skin. because people do some different things. I do different things. I'm a big personality. I am not absorbed by everybody. I get that, but I'm honest about it.
Yeah.
And being honest doesn't have to be rude. It doesn't have to be pushy. It doesn't have to be aggressive, but it needs to be clear and concise. And you need to be consistent. And consistency is just, that it's a lost art. It's
It
really,
is. It is.
people just, they can mix it up, but you can't bake a cake and one time you put in the baking soda and another time you don't. It's not going to rise. And I really want people to rise to their highest and greatest good, to the best frequency. I can't deal with that low vibration. I'm just at that point in my life. Let's ask you some fun questions though, because we done went all deep and got all serious and stuff.
Oh, well, don't forget that I've also created businesses and
You've done other things. You have
I've
done
done a whole
great
lot of
things.
other things.
You've done a lot of great things, and you're a grandma.
I know you.
What's the best part about being a grandma? It's better than being a mama.
It is. And I was so excited to be called grandma. And when my first granddaughter was born, it was like, okay, I was kind of an absentee mom because I always was working. And I said, I just want to be the best grandmother ever. And I believe that I've kind of lived up to that thing that I said that I want to be the best grandmother ever because I've got six grandchildren. With two of them are kind of too small to really ask any questions about me, but the other four love me dearly and I love them. And just being a grandmother and being able to do the things for my grandkids that I want to do for them and
But
and
that
take them
wisdom,
places.
now they don't value grandparents the way that they used to. They honored the
Yeah.
grandmother. They watched the grandmother cook and sew and clean and sit there and read a book to them and all that. Now it's like they think grandma is, old and frumpy and she don't know how to use the internet.
But my kids don't look at me that way because whenever they want to go do something fun and cool, that's what they always call grandma.
And another cool thing about you, why'd you get the nose ring?
Oh,
Be rebellious?
you know what? I don't know if it's rebellious or just, like I said, I'm kind of a quirky person. I love a lot of color, and this is one thing that I've kind of grown into over years is that once I really kind of gotten, and of course, I'm like you, 63.
Happy birthday, by the way. You just had a birthday.
So I just, I just started doing the things that I really wanted to do, and getting my nose pierced was one thing, and I pierced it myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
My niece pierced her eyebrow herself, doggone near swelled up the side of her head. kind
Oh
of.
no.
So, Brains, this is a public service announcement. Give it a trained professional unless you know what you're doing, or you can.
Yeah. So
Have,
I pierced my nose by myself. My ears are pierced I pierced those by myself as well.
you have tattoos?
No, but I am going to get my first one.
Are you really? I have
And
heard about tattoos. I don't. I won't do it only
I
because
never really wanted a tattoo prior to now, but after being in Peru and doing plant medicine in Peru, um, I had a lot of serpents in my visions, and serpents seem to be following me no matter where. It's not that I really see them physically see a lot of serpents, but I do see snakes quite a bit. And so yeah, the biggest one that I want to get is going to be of serpents on my back.
okay, all right, go ahead now. But serpents are people get that confused because I'm not afraid of snakes. I had a couple pet snakes when I was younger, but it is a sign of shedding and new beginnings,
Yes, it's a sign of transformation.
transformation. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And it is a sign of Shiva, he's the controller of the serpents, I guess, or whatever it is. But yeah, so serpents is something that I want, but I think my first one is just going to be the Eye of Horus. I have a great connection to the pyramids, and so I really want to get the Eye of Horus on my back, on my neck.
On your neck.
Yeah, on the back of my neck, yeah.
Oh, on the back of your neck. I was a decollete. Don't do me.
No, on the back of my neck.
Yes. So when you're really sexy and you can pull that hair up and they see that, well, yikes.
You know, I think it is it's past life. I don't know what it is, but it is that higher person or priestess or whatever it is healing that I feel like I came from in past lives, that I decided that yeah, that's my connection to the pyramids, and that's why I want to get the Eye of Horus.
All right. Well, we want to see it when you get it done. So let's ask
Absolutely.
you a couple questions. Well, would you rather? Okay.
Sure.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Oh, I used to say vanilla. I used to love chocolate, but oh, I think vanilla.
Past or the present?
Present.
Uh, a Mercedes Benz or a VW Bug?
I think a Vita bug.
Okay. Uh, 45 or 65?
65.
If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
I think a blender,
Why?
because blenders blend everything together and make a lovely concoction
Okay.
or a drink or whatever it is. But yeah.
I've decided again that I'm going to be the garbage can. Why? Because it disposes of things that no longer serve you.
Oh, I like that.
It gets rid of the rubbish.
Yeah,
But it's also a place to recycle.
absolutely.
What would you say to a woman that's struggling right now that needs you to reach out to them? They need to reach out to you and work with you. It could be her finances, it could be her health, it could be her relationship with her children. What would you say to a woman that's just, hanging by a thread?
I think know that you're loved and know that there's somebody, always somebody out there that cares about you. Even when you feel like there isn't, there's always somebody that cares. There's always somebody that you can reach out to. And that was something that I really had to really dig deep to know, that there's people out there that really do care, and they don't always have to know us.
No. And again, be a good listener, brains. You don't always have
Yeah,
to be jaw jacking. Sometimes we can talk ourselves into a situation or we talk too much. And
yeah.
women, unfortunately, have a tendency to do that because we love to talk, but learn to listen. There's more information that you will receive and be able to process if you're a good listener. Jeannie, tell us how to get in contact with you.
Well, I have my Facebook page, which is Jeanne Chilson. I am at J Chill's Journey on Instagram. And I have my own Facebook group that I would love to have people come visit me in, and it's called Radiant Soul Journeys, to take people back to the radiant person that they've always meant to be.
That's beautiful. Now, do you hold retreats?
I am in the process of, um, let's say it won't be this year. It'll probably be next year. Yes, I will be holding retreats. I am a coach, a spiritual life coach, as well as an Ayurvedic doctor equivalent. And so I do have programs, coaching programs that are 3 months or a year-long program.
All right.
Um, And next year we will be doing some retreats.
Well, and Brains, in the meantime, in between time, if you are holding a retreat, invite her as a guest speaker, as a facilitator. You know, what a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of work that goes into it. Make it simpler for yourself. You create the overarching event and bring in the subject matter experts and find the guests that align with those experts. One time I did a retreat and I didn't even know who was in the room. And what I meant by that is I just invited my power players. And they got up and they spoke and we ate and we prayed and we laughed and we played drums. It turned out to be something that they wanted to do every year. And I told them no. But it's a gathering.
It is.
Gathering of spirits, messages, souls, and experiences. And once you get there and you get to vibing, you have no idea what it's going to turn into. So invite her, okay? We'll put all of her contact information in the back. I want you to love, like, share, and subscribe. If you are a person that is a victim of domestic violence, you don't always have to be victimized. Figure out a plan. If it's not your family, there are other groups and organizations that are willing to help you. Women, pay attention to your intuition. If it don't feel right and it don't smell right, it ain't right. Okay? Get yourself together. And again, ask the universe always, every day, for the highest and greatest good. Thank you so much, Jeannie, for being here on the edge. I'm just so glad to have you. And I got a newfound friend, Brains.
Thank you, April. I sure do appreciate you having me.
We'll talk again soon. Bye, Brains. Be good to yourself. Count up.
Bye.